spoken quite extensively about the importance of mining for the creation of a resilient energy system to achieve energy sovereignty and competitiveness. And now we are in the second half of the Energy Leadership Forum, talking with the doers. So I've got the pleasure here to share the panel with a group of senior professionals that represent the electrification effort and successes and challenges in the mining sectors. There's approximately 13,000 mines, active mines in the world. Not many people probably appreciate that. And according to ABB research, approximately 2/3 of the sample you've interviewed is interested in electrifying approximately a quarter of their operations. And this is a fascinating transformation for those who are interested in mining, because it's a very ancient activity. I visited a year ago a gold mine from the Roman times, active for 250 years. They extracted 25 tons of gold, and it's crazy how this very ancient human activity is evolving, and to the extent that potentially one day it could be fully automated. So let's dive into the conversation, and let me ask, from the point of view of the board, executive board of directors, what are the top priorities driving investments in electrification in mining?
So, good afternoon, everybody. So first, it's great to be here. Thank you, Marco, really to give us this opportunity. What's about the mining? First of all, I was really very happy to see in the panel before a lot of times this word decarbonization and decarbonizing. And when we talk about mining, we have to say, so the mining industry is responsible for about 7% of the whole worldwide emissions of CO2. So this is significant. And what I do personally, so I'm working in ABB in about the electrification of the mobile machines for mine. And when we talk about decarbonization in mines, this is about electrification. And why is that? So for the boards, also for the CEOs, this is not about like just a compliance exercise anymore, or that this is not about greenwashing. So because this is not only about decarbonization. Of course, we are talking about decarbonization because from the whole mining population of the vehicles, these big machines, so like diesel haulage trucks, they are about 1/4 of the machines, and they can contribute in a mine 40 to 50% of the emissions. So this is a lot. But they also have a big portion of the costs. And when we talk about electrification for the boards, this is about reducing costs. That means reducing 40 to 70% of the energy costs, also reducing up to 30% of the maintenance costs. So that means we are doing the mine operation much more efficient. So this is about really about costs. So this is not only about doing something good, decarbonizing, but also about costs. So I would be interested in what my colleagues here have to do. I don't know who wants to. Lucas?
Right on. So I'll just go straight into that question. In mining, really what you do most of is moving material. You move a lot of tons, and costs are often represented as dollar per ton. So when a board makes decisions on where to deploy scarce capital or scarce resources, The question of how it affects your dollar per ton is one of the questions that they have to ask, and they use to prioritize these projects. Fabiana, you certainly lay out that the fact that there's a compelling case that full electrification of mining machines will result in lower costs, lower dollar per ton. So you think this is a no-brainer. In the long term, this is absolutely correct. In the short term, these investments to achieve that long-term goal are going to have to compete with the short-term other abatement projects, other business-related projects that will also require capital. So I think that's, and of course we can talk a lot about the marginal abatement cost curve, where these short-term and long-term projects reside. It's really good when the dollar per ton projects align with your abatement projects. And that's the case in the long term. In the short term, this is not the case. In the short term, there are investments that are needed that will only come to fruition in a much longer time frame. So I think boards really have to take this balanced approach. And this is similar to what the previous panel was talking about, right? No different.
Anders?
Too much technology, all right? Even though I'm a former R&D manager. That's a good start, right? I was also fascinated. I'm coming from Epiroc, which is the section of former Atlas Copco's mining construction part. And we've been in this business since 1873. I have not been more than the last 30 years in that business, but it's very interesting to hear the discussion prior to this one, because it's very much similar topics and both pros and cons. And what I've seen working with this area for quite some time now is that I think we reached beyond the policy discussions in general terms. So I think we're getting more into real deployment of the electrification part in mining. Let's say for decision makers in this case, I think there are three main areas. We have the external pressure or factors from a mining house that comes from that our regulations are tightening. The investors want to have credible transition plans. Customer wants to have low carbon materials, or society expectation is rising. So that's just speaking is not the way forward. You have to act. But then you also have the internal factors for mining houses that electrification is one means to get a more efficiency and in competitive way of working. You get away from heat and fumes, of course, of that one as well. But also due to the fact that what the mining industry is now facing is declining ore grades. We need to go deeper. And that's also why electrification is one of the means to make that in a good way. So a third area, actually, what you can call the business resilience. We see that we have the continuous decline of availability of fossil fuel that will come or coming, and also the upcoming carbon tax coming globally, right? So it will have a cost exposure for mining. And also here we think and see that electrification plays a vital role. So all these factors we see that are, let's say, instruments for electrification to be a way forward in mining.
Thank you, Anders. Vedrana.
Thank you. So I come from a process industries part of ABB, and what we are doing is we are bringing the infrastructure to the mine that helps to electrify the operations. So the topics that we need to recognize is when a mine is electrifying, basically the energy vectors are changing and the system boundaries are changing. We are replacing diesel with energy, with electrical energy, and this needs to be properly strategized. As we heard a lot in the previous panel, already the supply of sufficient electricity is a topic. So PPAs or other ways. I mean, we have, in mining, we have a situation that we cannot locate our facilities where, where it's the best electricity. We mine where there is best ore. So we need to find a way to produce and bring the electricity in the right way and under the right terms. I think one important aspect to take into account here is that we need to shift in mining from thinking about power as a commodity to thinking about it as an operational asset and manage power, manage energy in the proper way. Proverbial close your windows in the house, right? So this is really an important aspect that will help create business cases where there are in the places where we have not seen before. I will not go into technicalities, but the power profiles of a mine are not very constant. You have quite dynamic loads, trucks charging, not charging. There's a recuperation. There's ways to also develop different business models also in the collaboration with the grid providers. There is a good case in many places for local renewable energy production, especially coupled by battery energy storage, which is maturing every day. So, yes, and another important aspect is not to look at electrification as an isolated trend. It needs to come in the same thought with automation, digitalization, and enabling the next level of productivity in mines, and preparing also the mining for the future and for a different workforce. So this is one of the challenges in mining, is getting the workforce where the ore is and to manage also the future of working. So I think electrification is one aspect that needs to also drive the other thoughts towards autonomy.
Thank you, Vedrana. You mentioned energy as an operational asset. Last year we spoke about energy as a strategic asset, so it's clear where it needs to go in the balance sheet. And thanks also for raising the automation angle. Stick around, the next panel will have actually a little sample of that. So that's super interesting. So the mining sector is at the beginning of a deep transformation. What's the single biggest real-world barrier to a faster sort of transformation or to this transformation? Is it regulation? Is it technology? Is it human, lack of leadership like we heard before, or determination, perseverance? Fabiana.
Okay, no? Too much technical. So, I think so. I have really to repeat the panel before. Sorry, I have to pay copyrights. But Gerald. Yeah, but we are also talking about scalability here again. So we really we are proving today that we have the technology and we have projects in place that are proving, so that are much more than just PowerPoints. So we have the technology, and nobody would have sit here like 10 years ago, like ABB, Epiroc, Komatsu, sitting here to talk about mining electrification. So this is really like we are seeing. This is the future, and we, as ABB, for example, we have more than 140 years of technology. We are pioneers always, so that means we are pushing in this direction. We, Epiroc, Komatsu, and many other mining industries, because we see this is the right direction. And but we see it's very difficult to bring this to scale if we don't have a certain standardization. So we need this collaboration between all the industries, between the OEMs, the technologies, the operators, and this is what we need to put together. So I think I'll give to Anders to see what is your vision here on these barriers.
Yeah, it's not an easy ride. I think we can sign on to that, all of us here in this panel, even though we have a desire to really make this happening. And I cannot see that there are one single factor that stands out here. I think for me it is numerous and combined factors here. And to make this happen, technology plays a vital role. We are technology companies. And in terms of, let's say, battery technology has developed fantastically well. But it's still evolving. So the technology in electrification is continuously evolving. If you compare to like diesel technology that has been refined for decades or even more. So what we know today, it's most probably what does not look tomorrow. So and that creates a lot of anxiety and uncertainty for this long-term investment needed. And so also that electrification is a new way of working in the mining industry. It drives new skill sets and processes and tools, and I think at least my perception is that this is something we really underestimated when trying to change this transformation in mining industry. So and then of course we have the financial aspect. The economics matters here, of course, even though we are convinced that long term the business case is really attractive for electrification. It will take some time, as you said, Lucas, because there is a need for front investment to make this happening, change your business model, financing models and things like that. So that is also a factor. And it's also that electrification, the way I see it, is not a one-to-one replacement of diesel. You cannot plug and play here. So there's a lot of dependencies and coordinated actions needed for infrastructure, for energy supply. We're talking about the availability of that one, charging strategies, way of operation, things like that. So once again, I don't see a single barrier. The real challenge here is the complex combination of barriers here we need to attack.
Thank you, Anders. Lucas?
Just to go down the row here. I would say I'll give you 4. I'll be quick, don't worry. First of all, you need machines that are fully electrified. That's one important thing. I think the OEMs, the original equipment manufacturers like Komatsu and Epiroc, we have this. We can do this. This is just an engineering challenge. We can do this. We already have them in place. Number 2 is you need enough energy. So suddenly your mine site goes from consuming a lot of diesel to consuming a lot of megawatt hours. Getting access to those levels of energy is going to be hard. It's going to take time. So that's another challenge. Thirdly, what was third? Thirdly was you can have the energy, you can have the machines, but you have to get the energy into the machines. And that actually is a surprisingly complicated question. That actually, when you talk about standards, I think there need to be standards so that a mining company doesn't get locked into a single supplier, right? Komatsu is all for open standards. We know that together we're stronger than on our own, and we are working very strongly with ABB in creating an infrastructure for charging, for transferring energy from the grid, from the stationary, the power systems to the mobile machines. Very important. Fourth, Anders, you mentioned it, the organizational changes, the changes in working, the changes in planning your mine. This is a massive change, right? So four main challenges, not just one.
Amazing, thank you. Vedrana?
Yes, actually, I will continue on Lucas's arguments about infrastructure. I mean, we need to understand that mine is not a factory, mine is not a highway. Mine is an evolving infrastructural project. You dig here, then you dig the 100 meters deeper and 100 meters deeper, and maybe sometimes in a different pit, and you will not build your infrastructure every time from new. You need to move it, you need to adjust it. There is different technological approaches to this, to these challenges. We need to really find the right solutions for the problem that we are having. And this is not just copy-paste from other industries. We need to do adjustments. So the problem is a bit that the technological landscape hasn't converged yet. There is many different solutions on the table, and it's not completely certain what will win. Because we also have in a high volume industries, I don't know, in higher volume industries, in data centers, in automotive, we have extreme progress in various electrification technologies, which get transferred into mining, definitely, and will change the game. So we are building our business cases based on assumptions that are constantly changing. And it is very hard for a mining company to do a massive long-term investment, to pick a technology and go with it and stick with it when it's unclear how the future will look like. So this is definitely something that a bit creates a gridlock in unlocking investment. So what we need to do, what we are trying to do, is to work really closely with miners to help them evaluate realistically, to understand the technology that they are coming into. This electrification for miners, it's unknown. They know it in the process plant, but they don't know it in a mine. We need to explain them how the right trade-offs and support them to understand their bets, and also to help them to start small but think big. So to help them to be able to evolve their investment as the technology landscape evolves.
Just building on this one, so you want to say something?
Yeah, maybe one closing word. So you heard now, oh my God, there's so many barriers. So why should we do that? Maybe we should see barriers. So I think for us here is, they are a bridge. So from where we are now, from where we want to be. And we are here because we have this vision that we are completely convinced that the mine electrification, this is where, this is the future. This is where we want to be. Otherwise, we would not be here. So just like maybe this is maybe a bridge for your next question. Maybe.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's well, so many. I have in my mind so many questions after hearing. And by the way, if you have any question, we will have maybe 1 or 2 minutes before we move to the next panel. But so having heard all your endeavors, having heard the barriers, what solutions actually are already there and deliver commercial and environmental results, and what else needs to be done? What is your view in the future? Particularly, I'm fascinated about hearing more on the automated mining, because again, human beings have been mining. There's some. Okay, please go ahead. Answer.
Should I respond?
No. I want to talk about automation.
Me too.
Okay, please, you all want to talk about autonomous mining.
I think this is something that this audience may not be familiar with, but at last count, there's over 10 billion metric tons of material have been moved by fully autonomous haulage, Komatsu machines. So this is a massive amount of material. A lot of machines that have been running for a long time in a complete production environment, very reliable, lowering the dollar per ton, increasing the reliability of the supply chain to the processing plants. So that's something that definitely we can chalk up as a win, because I think I've heard this before, also in the previous panel, that automation is one of those enablers for electrification. It makes the whole process more reliable, more consistent, more predictable, right? Can I keep talking, or do you want to talk about automation? So there's other things like, actually, Vedrana, you mentioned you need supervisory systems to manage energy. There are fleet management systems. Komatsu has a fleet management system which is completely revamped to look at energy as a constraint or as an enabler, right? To manage you mentioned the power variability, so to manage peak power for a large fleet of battery trucks. These are things that we have done. We have shown that we can do. And lastly, if I may, of course, trolley. We talked about the small steps that mines can take. Trolley has been an established technology for many decades, and it can be one of the other steps. Automation, supervisory systems, but also trolley systems really allow a mine to start replacing diesel with electricity, even with our current fleet. I'll stop.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Next time, instead of an old gold mine, we bring you to the north of Sweden to see these monster trucks driving without anybody in the cabin. It's a sight to see.
I lift the offer.
Yes, exactly. So I would like to say that I'm very proud of mining industry. We are taking the chances, and we are really pushing the technology forward, adopting the technology, and trying. And we have tremendous successes already under our shoulders. I mean, this is it's a journey, but we are making the right steps in dynamic energy transfer, in charging, in autonomous charging. So it's in fleet management, in power management, energy management. I would dare to say all the technology pieces are there. We just need to put them in the right order, and also be constantly adopting the maturing technology from the electrification space. I truly believe that one day, I believe in, lights out ore factory as a future mine. That is, we need to have our North Star should be really to have the predictability of a factory production and traceability and productivity when we are doing mining. So, and I think that technology with sensing AI, this is absolutely unlocking all the possibilities for mining. We just need to keep going into the right direction.
Thank you, Vedran.
No, I think I can be a parrot here, because even though we had some discussion about the barriers we see, there are so many things already done in this case. And electrification in mining is nothing new. Underground drilling has been electrified since many decades. That's the state of art. And now we also have, the last 10 years, we have a battery vehicle underground loader trucks running in operations in more than 40 mines all around the globe. And for example, what that gives in terms of values, a mining company in South Africa started in 2022 and started converting their fleet into battery loaders. And they, until now, with this rather small mine, have saved 8,500 ton CO2 equivalent since then. So that's just one miner mine that doing that one. So they are fantastic results to be seen. But we also need to speed this up one way or another. And today we have fully automated, battery-driven, fully connected vehicles. So that is in place. But we also need to continue that one, because if you need to charge a battery vehicle, how to do that in automation mode, that is technically very challenging and inspiring. Work needs to be done. And one way of doing that one is to collaborate. And I think as a result of what you see in the panel here, that no one can do this on their own. We need to collaborate. Mining companies, equipment manufacturers, system suppliers, academia, all kind of stakeholders in this case. And continue to develop technology, be creative, turn every stone, because there is no one solution fits all, because they're very much site dependent or application dependent. And we also need to work with regulation, standards, financial models to make this happening. I think one important thing is that everything we do needs to enhance productivity, else the rate will not continue. So everything we do has to have productivity in mind. And I think we do that already today. So this is an enabler for the sustainable value chain. But it's also reshaping the mining working environment. And I cannot forget when I actually met an operator in Canada. I think it was close to 10 years ago, when he said to me, Anders, my wife wants to thank you. I said, okay, how come? I was a bit nervous. No, she said that now my husband come home energized after a full shift working with a battery loader every day, instead of coming home full exhausted working in fumes, vibration, heat, and every day. And that's also a very human impact related to this transition. So it goes hands in hand. So I'm very optimistic for the future.
Thank you, Anders. Thank you.
Absolutely. No, so before I talk about my personal experience, I have to talk about some Epiroc story that your colleague Robert told to me about autonomous operation in your mine that you have in Australia. So that Epiroc is also doing some autonomous operation there. So there is some region in Australia where they have so many poison animals, so nobody wants to go there. So the operators, they don't want to go there. So they have this autonomous operation so that, the people don't have to go there. And the people that go there, like they are operating this remote from Perth, right? And the people, when they have to go there, they have some lodge where there is some guard outside, like hunting the poison animals. So this is really, you see that the autonomous operation is also saving lives in Australia. So this is really, that's
and probably nature too. Probably nature too.
Yes, exactly. So no, when we see what is there. So we also did shortly in ABB a flagship project in Turkey, where we really took a diesel mechanic truck, really 30 years old. This would have been scrapped, and we just converted to full battery electric, so zero emissions. We could save, with this conversion, 100,000 liter diesel, so per year, and also 250,000 CO2, so ton CO2. So per year. So this is huge. So if you think, 250 tons CO2 per year, sorry. If you think about your car, so our normal car, this would emit about 2.5 tons. So that means this is 100 times your car. So you could drive 100 cars, and this was a small truck. If you take a big truck, then maybe this emits about 1,000 tons. So this would be 400 cars. So then you see how important it is to start like electrifying the mining industry. If you buy one electric car and say, oh, now I'm saving the world, if we electrify one mining truck, one big mining truck, is the same thing as we are taking out 400 few cars from the street. And I think the big message that we are giving here is that, hey, the technology is available. So the time to start electrifying mine is now. So this is our message.
Thank you. Thank you very much to you all, and I'll see you in northern Sweden.